In the words of the great songwriter, January, February, March, me a look for the money, but not never pass. April, May, June, me a look same way. Me no see where money gone. July, August, September, nothing same way. October meet, November meet, December. But guess what? It's gonna be a new year. August today was born on the 30th of November in 1993 in Kingstown, specifically hailing from Largo Heights. Went to the preparatory primary school, Sylvanus Grammar School, JP Eustace, Bethel Secondary, as well as the technical college at the time, now the Division of Technical and Vocational Education, all part of the SVGCC. This guest today is currently overseas, so it's a foreign-based footballer. And we want to make mention of his upcoming and a bit about his football history as well. He won early days the primary school football title, Prep versus Leu, in his first and only year playing competition in the primary school division. He began his club career with System 3, big up to Ian Sardine, who was the coach of Prep at the time, and picked the best players from the primary school football competition to join his team. So that's how August got his start. Following on in his System 3 career, he won numerous titles as a player in multiple divisions. Under 13, under 15, under 17, under 19, you name it. It was goals and it was titles. He won the club championship in the first division, as well as numerous other smaller village competitions that took place throughout the country. Now, when it was time for tertiary education, he won the title twice. That's right, twice with the Division of Technical Education in his 2 years there. He then left St. Vincent and the Grenadines in 2016 to pursue greater opportunities abroad, and he found that firstly with the team Enforcers FC, all the way over in the Anguillan Premier League. In his very first season playing, he was awarded the best striker in the competition with a tally of 24 goals for that season, placing his team into third place in that particular season. Then in the President's Cup, he had a great ratio of 25 goals in 16 appearances. In the Digital Champions League as well, 3 goals in 6. In the Antigua Football League knockout, 6 goals in 4, as well as in the Seniors Men's Super 4, 4 goals in 3 games. I am talking about a deadly striker, a clinical finisher. He helped them to move to the best ever finish in the Angolan Premier League, which was second in 2018. Now, after this successful stint with Enforcers, he moved to Ducks United, also in the Angolan Premier League in 2021. With Ducks, he won the Premier League in 3 consecutive seasons. So that's 2021 to 2022, 2022 to 2023, and 2023 to 2024, just falling short in the 2024-2025 season, but placing as the runner-ups. He was also named the best striker and the MVP for the 2023-2024 season. 79 total appearances in Anguilla, a total of 110 goals between Enforcers and Ducks United. 69 of those coming in 50 appearances in the Angolan Premier League. Most recently, he has made a move to the Roaring Lions, also of the Angola Premier League, and based on what was taking place at Enforcers and at Ducks, you can already tell where this is headed. Today, we have on GSCP a son of the soil, a Largo Height man, a Central Kingstown man, a clinical finisher, a multi-talented individual, Sylvanus James. Welcome to the podcast, my brother.
Welcome.
Good to have you home.
Welcome.
Respect and love, man. Man, we're getting straight into it. You understand? We're getting straight into it. So, for people who don't know you and don't know you as a baller, take us back. We want to get the story from the very beginning. So, I want to hear about playing in town, I want to hear about Pasha days, I want to hear about Largo Heights. What was football like for you as a youth growing up in Vincy?
Well, first me have to big up Sardine, cause everything for Sardine, everything for Ian Sardine. I would have never do party right now because him give me the opportunity to reach different places. It might not be direct, but just by being around him, it motivated me, with all the other players, them players like Z, and other players, from them guys from uptown, Parslot, downtown, all of we used to just come together and it's just like a family. and we just help one another grow up, and that been just it. Football been our thing. We kicks in a room, beating team bigger than we. Man, them bigger than we beating them, and we just making fun. We enjoying ourselves, but at the end of the day, it's business. It's down to business. When Sardine say, do they say do that? Get the right thing, punch. The training, everything. Yeah, boy. Yeah, you just gotta just.
All right, so you're recapping those early days.
Yeah, man.
And speaking of those early days, right? You only played one primary school competition, but you won it.
Yeah.
Did you know from that early winnings that you had a little something special?
No,
Did you know you were gifted like that with football, or it was just a vibes?
you see, the thing is, before football is athletics, eh? It's just run. We used to
So
run, eh?
athlete
Yeah,
first.
me, my brother, my sister, we used to run. And just starting just take up all the fast man them. And they just tell we come training. Kite start Victoria Park with Barrows too, no?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if I remember Barrows.
Yeah,
Of
yeah,
course,
Yeah,
of course.
big up Barrows too, because it's Barrows. My mothers would send me for play with Barrows because he had a team at
yeah,
the time.
at the time.
You check, but then Sardine was training at Victoria Park the same time. So I leave from Barrows and go with Sardine training, and ever since that, I just never forward back to to Barrows. But big up Barrows still because it's my mothers who send me to Barrows
To Barrows.
first.
All right. So how important would you say was that early era, prep school, you also went to multiple secondary schools. How important was that in shaping you as a footballer and, also as a competitor? Because I heard you mention, you played against bigger opponents and so on. How did that period shape you as a baller?
Well, that shaped me real good because the training what Ian Sardine gave us, that is just it just help you, because if you go in the training and you learn something, you check. Once you focus and you keep on top of the right track. Yeah, once you focus and you keep on top of the right track, sometimes as kids, it hard for just get to pay attention for a long period of time. You check, but it's cause I didn't always get he whistle. And once you mess up the boy just get your back on track. You check. So all them things, I remember, and that helped me. That helped me to be the kind of person I is right now with the discipline and the energy and them something they be focused.
I'm glad that you mentioned discipline, bro, because that's something that a lot of youths lacking right now, especially in and out of sports. But seeing that we speaking specifically on sports, right? And you've mentioned Sardine a few times, so I could see how important
Yeah, boy.
he's been to your not just football development, but overall life development, right? And you mentioned in the intro that you won titles in all of the divisions with System 3 as well, right? How did those wins shape your mentality at the time, in being competitive while playing football?
Well, for me, I gotta say them help me to know what it is, what to feel like, what it is to feel like when you win something. To see the joy, not just on your face, but to see your players, your friends, the excitement. And when we lose, it's like, boy, we down, and who want to feel down? Nobody want to feel down. So it always gear the drive, I always want to win because winning is always a good feeling, and that is it.
And you had that winning feeling a lot in your school career. You even won titles with Technical College as well. How different would you say football at that stage of your career was from the earlier days? I mean, the winning ways continued, but did you start to see a different side of your game in and around that later stage of your development?
Yeah, because in that stage you got to be in terms of like focus, right? I just say in them times with college, yeah, you gotta have your head on with books because college is not just for sports. You check, you gotta keep your mind occupied with books. You check. But now with the sports now, in terms of me developing from primary school days, secondary school days, and college now, them stages is a whole different because after college now, you're gone into a bigger world. You check it, college again. Now it's business time. You check. And if you don't get yourself get your mind right there and then, you can't make it no further than that. Once you in focus there, you can't focus out there.
You mentioned that, like after college, that it was gonna be business, time,
Yeah.
right? just basically mean that you're not out of school, you're an adult, you have to look for something to provide for you and your loved ones, right? So in 2016, basically after leaving college, you made the difficult decision at the time, I'm sure, to leave your home where you born and raised and have all your friends and family, loved ones, to go to somewhere where you've never been before, to seek opportunities. Obviously, things have went well for you, and the leap of faith worked. But at the time, how scary was it for you?
Boy, it been real scary at first because at the end of the day, you're going out in a place where you don't have no friends, as you say, no friends, no close family members. You check, so basically you're just out in an ocean by yourself, and you just dip on a little rowboat, and you're just hoping to just wherever the wind take you, or wherever the sea take you, the waves, you just glide with the waves. You check, so now you go out there, as you say, you develop the right mindset at home. It's all about discipline. Once you discipline, nothing at all can get you off of the track anymore. Once you have your focus on, you check. So now I go out there, I realize, okay, then boy, I far from home. So guess what? I can't waste no time right now. Right? I don't develop that mindset. I can't waste no time right now. So I just go out and just do my thing, put in the work, put in the training, and just execute every time.
We know the discipline and the focus would be required, moving to another country. What would you say is the biggest difference between the football that we play here in Vincy, in SVG, and the football in Angola? Because you also have to adapt to that difference in style.
Yeah, well, when I reach Angola now, that is when I start to play against people from different nationalities. So I playing against people from Jamaica, people from St. Martin, Angola, Dominica, Trinidad, and these players is great players just like myself. All of them is good players, and it ain't easy. It ain't no friend you're playing against your school friend who you and them depend the same club team, but all depend different team pan a different
Strangers.
you check. So
Strangers.
it's total strangers you're playing against, and sometimes in them thing, it ain't a friend thing. So you gotta be careful with injuries and stuff like that. So all them thing they, help you,
Develop.
yeah.
Yeah, but Statsman Shaba would tell you, the 4 season in the Angolan Premier League was good. How much goals was it?
24 and
Right?
got the best striker.
And best striker. So was that surprising for you as a Vincent John moving to a new country? Or did you feel you were ready for that level?
Before you answer,
Your
basically, did you expect it to be that easy?
No, it wasn't that easy, and I tell you that it ain't been that easy. It can be challenging, but it's just that all used to see me on the park doing things by myself.
course.
You check. So now all of them things I used to do by myself. I put it out there. It at times don't get checked now because I score like 24 goals. I throw plenty still. You check, to be real, I throw a couple good chances still. But at the end of the day, still the most important, you do your thing, I go out and still do your thing, because even the greatest throw, the easiest chances.
course.
So I ain't gonna say I perfect, I know me imperfect.
Yeah,
You
but
check,
still,
everybody had them time.
110 goals in how much?
79
79 appearances. I mean, that's crazy.
Yeah.
So you would have to say that there's a little bit of separation with you and some of the other strikers in the league. What do you think generally, gives you that edge or that competitive edge, given your experience, I would say, in that particular league for playing with the different teams and so on?
Okay, I just say, boy. Sometimes we just have to laugh too, because in playing in a strange community, playing in a strange league, what gonna give me the edge over others, right? Is that my speed and my critical thinking. You check, a lot of players probably just have speed, but they don't think. If you understand what I'm saying, right? A lot of people think, but they don't have the speed
to execute.
to execute and stuff like that. So normally I find myself in spaces that a lot of people like afraid for going spaces. Defender, I catch defender. I just watch defender when I play. So I watching where if you feel you could hold on to me all the time, I pull you to a thing. And I just dance around you simple boy.
All right. That means, you see, based on what you said there, I have a particular question, right? Because it's often said scoring goals is the hardest thing to do in football. But strikers make it look, or great strikers make it look easy. As a top striker, where you go pick between these three? Instinct, positioning, or confidence? Which of those three matters the most for you?
Confidence. Confidence. I guess if you don't have a confidence, trust me, you're gonna always be frightened on the field. It at a point of time in time that I ain't had no confidence. You check and what? Games, I been missing goals straight, easy chances. Because what? My confidence shot.
Was low,
You
yeah.
check. But then after I catch back myself and but yo what? Unstoppable. You check, unstoppable. It have people tell it, yo, don't let it go. You check.
And you mentioned confidence, right? And there's something that can't wipe off.
Yeah.
There's a stain that can't wipe off. And you mentioned in your intro that you scored multiple goals across multiple competitions, not just in the Anguilla Premier League. So leagues, cups, knockout games. Even before you just came back home, you won a cup there as well. Do you think that you approach like bigger games with a different mindset than you would, let's say, a game that is maybe not so significant?
Yeah, you approach them with different mindset. Sometimes, as my last international game was in Trinidad. Can't remember the team I played against, but it was for the CFU. And just by going, because that was my first time, just by going is like, yo, I get a little frightened, I get a little anxious. But then when the whistle blowing boy, like, what?
Action.
Action time. You check out, this is it. This is where you have to go and show yourself. And we lose that game, but I still end up and score. We lost. I scored the only goal. We lose 6-1. Defensive error, a lot
Yeah.
of defensive error, because it was the first time the team took part in the competition.
That was Dax.
And that was with Ducks.
That was it, Ducks.
Yeah.
You did develop quite a bit of a winning culture with Ducks United.
Yeah.
However, 3 straight league titles. What would you say made that team special? You often hear about, winning teams having good chemistry, a good coach. What would you say was the secret behind the success on that three-peat?
I think the players have an understanding of each other. All that we are understanding of each other. So we basically know how, like, my strength and my weakness. So you mostly play to my strength, right? And the opposition team might think, like try get him on his weak spot. But then
You have a weak spot.
basically they don't know. As a footballer, you should be able to maneuver your weak spot in times of situation. Because you ain't gonna always in your weak spot.
Exactly.
You check. So now when time you catch yourself in your weak spot, then you just execute.
All right.
Check.
Speaking of our weak spot, you guys placed second after winning the 3 straight. How did you deal with falling short after having so much success? By the third one, the fans probably expecting you to win it
Yeah.
every single year, and to have that bit of a disappointment after that run, that successful run. How was that? How did you handle that?
Yeah, it been rough for now, because at the end of the day, we was in the final, we was leading 2-0. We was leading 2-0. And 2 defensive error, the game equalized. We go into extra time. I score again in extra time. It was 3-2. And then defensive error again. The guy them end up 3 yards. And then in the last minute, 4-3, they score. And we
Okay.
just lose.
Oh, man.
Yeah, so it's a tough feeling to know that you had the game under control, and then just by a little mistake, you just get out of your hand and you just end up and just lose.
I guess the old adage is 2-0 is the most dangerous lead in football.
I want to transition a bit to some personal questions about football still related. I just want to ask you, like, who growing up did you look at and say, I want to model my game after this person, whether it be international, local? Who is somebody you looked up to growing up as a striker?
Ronaldinho.
Ronaldinho.
Yeah, Ronaldinho.
And why?
Ronaldinho. Yo, when I see Ronaldinho, it's just different. Like, you get just different. The things that the man used to do, I used to just sit down in the house, and get a ball in the house and watching the YouTube them and doing the same thing. You check doing the same thing, like. Yo, I break a lot of arguments in my mother house. Why is real licks? It's licks, dog. Boy, it doesn't see that it is still like,
It's excellent, didn't it? They have a chance, then.
Yeah.
Right.
That's boring.
So Ronaldinho, and basically vice versa to that question. That's someone who you looked up to.
Yeah.
Now that you are in your 30s, you played ball for a long time now. Has any youngster or someone young in St. Vincent or even in Anguilla reach out to you for any type of advice, whether it be about leaving St. Vincent to go for
Yeah,
opportunities
yeah,
or
several.
just about football in general advice?
Yeah.
And
Several.
how has that been, and what was your like advice back to them?
Well, I just try guide them and telling them like do a lot of personal training, right? Because a lot of individual training is what has helped you to it. Because sometimes you go and you might do training with the coach, you check, and you might not get it right? And the coach don't do that training there every day. So it's something different every day. So now when you realize if inside of the training and you realize you ain't get this here right, you take a time for yourself and the same thing where you're gonna do right inside of the training, you work on that. And that's how that's the advice I used to give.
And I would say that's great advice because, bro, don't underestimate yourself. You playing football in a semi-professional league or whatever the case may be is a big achievement for somebody coming from a small country, regardless of what level it is. And the stats don't lie, right?
Number don't
You've
lie.
been doing your thing for some time now,
Clinical, and we come
right?
into something about that.
Right?
A
You've
little
been
bit.
doing your thing, bro. And something that has bothered me, and I'm sure it has bothered you as well, is that you've never been selected for the senior men's team.
Well, I like how Shabbat bring it up on time.
Right? And that's something, like I say, it would have bothered me and your entire circle,
Yeah.
obviously. Right? So let's touch that one time,
Yeah.
right? Let's
Yeah.
touch that one
Ready?
time. Tell me how you feel about not being selected to the national team thus far, and if you feel like you deserve to be.
Well, at the end of the day,
Look into the camera too, please.
Don't be modest
yeah,
either.
at the end of the day, it's something every youth who love football from St. Vincent is something they want to do to represent the country, right? The love that you have for the sport, and it is a good feeling for know that you could represent your country on a big stage and help them reach up to a certain level differently still. You check, especially if you know your ability and you have confidence in yourself that you know what you could do. You check if you get the opportunity. You check. So that's how I always feel about that. But at the end of the day, still, I can't let that keep me down. You check, because at the end of the day, it is not everyday thing. You check, I still out there doing my thing still, representing. You check, because no matter what, who more goals I score, it's Vincy, I represent straight.
Yeah.
You check, Vincy, I represent
I just
straight.
hear all of the championships and the awards and some big Vincy flag.
Yeah.
But I glad we touched on it all, and my camera there. Right here. St. Vincent Grenadines Football Federation, y'all got some questions to answer. Why has Sylvanus James never been called up to the national team? Not a trial, not a game. You understand? It just doesn't make any sense. This is a son of the soil. This is somebody who has been playing his trade for the better part of the last 10 years, the last decade. I just don't understand the lack of opportunities going to Vincentians who want to be useful and want to display their talent, want to show what they have to offer. This isn't a shoe-in or anything. This is I would like to take this opportunity to make a very general appeal. Now we get the thing going with the selections and the call-ups and the trials and the trainings and so on. Let us get it. Let me get it working, please. Yeah? Yeah. Changes coach. We want some substitutions, if you know what I mean. Right? Yeah. Time for some. That's right.
Would you accept a call up at this stage if selected, if they give you the call?
Yeah, I don't mind right now. I don't mind still. You check. Sometimes, I see a little bit like sometimes I watching them game playing and I say, boy, if I had the opportunity that I know I would do in that situation there. You check, but at the end of the day still, that is just it. You check. So
Well, obviously we're rooting for you, bro, and
yeah.
I hope this gets out there to the relevant
I just
authorities.
need, if the football association could push more youths out there, because at the end of the day we had the raw talent, a lot of Vincy youths have raw talent. You check, but they don't get the exposure that they need. You check, they don't invest in the youths. So that is one good thing you should do.
So if you had the power to change one thing about our football development here in Vincy, what would it be? What area would you like them to focus on? Is it would be grassroots training with the youth, giving them more opportunities and so forth. You understand? Overall, what we really need to focus on.
We need to focus on pushing the youths them and upgrading our facilities, because the facilities that we have here, it can't work. Just me.
And you've been all around the
Yeah,
region, so you're
yeah.
talking from there.
Because when I go out and I see places and I see different, the way how they had things set up, it's like, what? It like make you feel like you're like real far behind. You check, that's what just make you feel like you're real far behind. Because I know we had the potential for be great just like everybody else. We have it. We have the talent and we have the people who could push we. We have Vincy people love football. So the support is there.
All right. So we want to talk about the upcoming year, what's going to take place in 2026 for Sylvanus. The current chapter. You've just made a move to the Roaring Lions. What motivated that switch up after some time with Enforcers and obviously your successful stint at Ducks?
Well, I had some personal issue with management at Ducks United, so that caused me to just move from the team that I was on to the team that I currently transferred to. So it's not much that I really want to get into.
Yes, of course.
You check, but that is just, it's just personal issues with management and
Yeah, we know how the game is, and there's other aspects to the game as well. But what can the new fans, after you moved on from that successful chapter, of course, and we know that those fans would have definitely enjoyed having a striker like you on the roster. But what can your new fans expect from you this season?
Before you answer, I know for sure we could expect at least 1 or 2 goals versus Ducks United. in all seriousness, man. What can we expect from you this season?
It is, man.
Just me, just doing my thing, just keeping my game up, training, being consistent, with goals, try do better than what I do last season and the previous season. I always try to be better than what I was before.
So you still had a hunger,
Yeah,
even after all of them goals and titles and things.
Yeah.
Want to achieve more.
Yeah, just keep trying to achieve and achieve and achieve and achieve.
What keeps you going? What keeps you motivated to try to achieve?
Well, boy, in life that sometimes you meet up and things that just happen and it just cause you to lose hope and to lose faith. And that was sometimes them things they happen and is to keep you going stronger. You check, because ever since I lose my brother Swag, you check, I just had a feeling like we just give up everything that
R.I.P. Swagger.
I had a feeling just to give up everything, but God walk in mysterious ways. You check, and this is why everything I do, I always bring God in the mix. You check, the Most High always in the mix for me. You check, because the same year Swag did, is the same year my youth born, my son. You check, so yeah, respect. So that alone is like, okay, then when you're feeling down, I have something or somebody who I could say, yo, you gotta be strong.
Motivation.
Check, this is my motivation. You check, and it are people who used to encourage me who pass, and it does make you feel down, like Rose, Culinary Rose. Rose is the man always used to push me. You check, every time I go, Rose call me, check up on me. Them is people. You check, so
Looking out for you.
yeah.
Man, we could tell that you are a grounded youth, a talented youth, and we wish you all the very best for the upcoming year. But before you leave, we have some rapid fire questions for you. Right? Who's the best defender you faced?
The best defender I face, boy. The best defender I face, probably mostly in
None.
Not in CFU.
None, probably.
Yeah, in the CFU.
True.
The CFU.
In the CFU.
Cool. Toughest team in Angola?
Toughest team in Angola, probably Roaring Lions.
Favorite goal you've scored?
Favorite goal, I get it at a time I heel back.
Yeah, describe
Yeah.
it. Describe it.
Well, it had a time, a game, we was leading 1-0, and just after we scored the 1-0, the defender gave me the ball. We kick it back to our to our goalkeeper.
Right.
He passed it to our defender. Defender passed it to the midfield. Midfield swing it over. He crossed the ball from the midfield, and I just backheel it in the air.
Wicked.
From the air in the air and just flick it.
I
in
could see the
goal.
visual.
Tap in.
We're gonna need that clip. We're gonna need that. We're gonna need that clip.
We need that clip.
We're gonna need
Yeah,
that.
Editor, fix you up. We need that.
That video went a little bit viral because a couple of people from we just call them people not scouts. Then people just like post videos and
Media and
stuff
such.
like, media, yeah. A couple of them request me for the video, and I send it for them. Yeah, I send it for them. It's a one pin on my Instagram right now, over 10K likes and probably how much million views. Yeah, check. Yeah, so
Closest player to you, like in modern football, who you say you would model your game after?
boy. Let me see boy.
A striker.
As a striker.
Like you could watch a striker and say, or watch a current player and say, I just play like that person, or even a former player.
I guess say like Neymar. Neymar, yeah.
You flair and song.
Yeah.
Right, well, we ain't had to ask you which team you support.
Yeah. Right, true.
Pick up yourself.
Right, true.
Pick up yourself one time. Hold on, man. You see it?
Yeah, right, true.
Shabba don't like that, but I not.
That's fine. We're neutral over here. We're neutral. We're neutral over here. We're neutral over here.
One thing people don't know about you off the pitch.
Boy, I just like shippiness. Yeah, I just like shippiness. I like enjoy life.
Man, yeah, you have to like laugh and enjoy yourself.
Yeah.
More introspective, biggest lesson that football has taught you.
Boy, discipline. I gonna always stretch panda. Without discipline, me boy, no matter how good it be, without discipline, you can't go nowhere. Yeah.
And this is the last question, basically. And I kind of asked you a similar question about it earlier in terms of like if persons ever reach out to you. But a general statement, like right now, as your last interview question, and look into the camera and give any young player who wants to make it, whether semi-professionally, professionally, how they should go about it.
Yeah, well, like I say, boy, for any youths out there who trying to make it, don't give up no matter what, because what part with it, like a lot of fight don't just be you check. So you gotta know what you want for you, and just keep pushing no matter what. Just be determined and push and trust the Most High. Continue, pray, and just trust God in everything that because without Him you can't make it. So just hard work, train, work on your mistakes, know your strength, know your weaknesses, work on your weaknesses. So it could be at the same level with your strength. So it could be easy for you, and just be consistent with it. Train, stay off of the alcohol, stay off of drugs, eat right, build your body, and then something they still you check. And yeah, and then
Yeah,
you
bro.
go-
So before Prime gives us the outro and we sign off for this episode, bro. This is a common thing that we do for guests that come on, and I just wanna beg you, bro. Beg you. I was like, we're friends, we know each other a long while. But even if we weren't friends, what you have done, bro, is very commendable, very brave step that you took.
Yes.
Because you bet on yourself and you won. You struck goal. Check. So really proud of you, bro. You was just keep doing your thing.
Giving
Keep
you
doing your
flowers.
thing. He has support right through, bro. It was so. This is a professional setting, and we want a professional shout out.
Come on, man.
Check. So, yeah, that.
110. 110 goal. 110. Federation!
Yeah.
I don't want to get out of character. It's the last day of the year. This has been another episode of Global Sports from a Caribbean perspective. It's your boy Prime here with your boy
Shaba.
and our boy Sylvanus James, also known as.
VAG.
That's right. Our boy from a long time, but also doing his thing on the Caribbean stage, on the regional stage. And my brother, we hope that international call-up comes soon. I want to see you in the blue, yellow, green, representing your country. because I know you will do a wonderful job. All the best to you for 2026. New team, new goals, and I'm sure new goals are gonna come as well. Big up yourself, my brother. As always, one GSCP Global